Should we start?
Sure, whenever you're ready.
All right, we'll start.
I mean, the people will keep on
everyone.
joining, I guess. If there's anyone joining in, they will keep on joining. We can start and we can just keep on adding that.
All right, then I'll start. Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to yet another enlightening webinar brought to you by ICHARS Support Foundation in collaboration with the Connect Hub. At ICHARS, we are committed to empowering coaches and mental health practitioners to contribute a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling world. We achieve this by providing comprehensive step-by-step trainings that equips them with advanced coaching and therapeutic skills. This in turn enables them to better serve their clients while achieving their professional and personal aspirations. This webinar is brought to you by ICHARS Support Foundation, an integral non-profit branch of ICHARS. The core mission of ICHARS Support Foundation revolves around promoting mental health through case. That is, creating awareness, providing support, and offering education. We firmly believe that by enhancing public awareness, educating communities, and providing individuals with the right tools, we can foster optimal mental health for all. ICHARS has initiated the Visit MHP Challenge, an inspiring initiative by mental health practitioners, encouraging individuals to seek help proactively before it becomes too late. It also acts as a peer learning and a support community for practicing psychologists and psychology students in India. We hold regular case discussions and webinars and workshops and much more. We have started subsidized counseling service for psychology students dealing with psychological issues such as stress, anxiety, depression, and any other emotional difficulties. Today, this webinar is made possible through our partnership with The Connected, a distinguished social enterprise with over 25 years of experience in the domain of mental health and crisis intervention. We are honored to have Mr. Sachin, the founder of The Connected, as our esteemed guest today. He will be sharing his valuable insight on the topic of why the common man needs to know about suicide prevention, drawing on this extensive experience in mental health to provide a deep and a thoughtful perspective. So I would over to you, Mr. Sachin. You can just give a brief introduction about the Connected and yourself, please. Over to you.
Thank you, Shifa. May I also request if people can come on the video, it would be that much more interactive, get to see you all so that and also if there are any questions, any thoughts that come up during this 1 hour session, I'll ask you all to freely ask questions because the time is limited and there's a lot of information that can be shared. It would be great if you can interact with me as well. So just to kind of talk about, and thank you, Shifa, for helping organize this particular session. It has been a session regarding the conversations that need to happen at the common man level, right? At a layperson level. And this is where Connect Hut and myself, we have been working to improve the information and awareness around suicide and suicide prevention. We started 3 years back, but the people working in the organization, we have been working in this space for over 25 years. And myself, I am currently the president of Befrienders India. It's an umbrella organization under which about 14 suicide helplines operate. Along with this, I'm also the assistant director of training and development with Samaritans Mumbai, suicide prevention helpline that's been operational for over 30 years in India, and which is also the first international branch of Samaritans UK and one of the first suicide helplines in the world. Now, along with that, we have started the Connect Hut over 3 years back, predominantly working in the space of suicide prevention and mental health awareness and wellness. Now, we work in that space by helping make mental health simple. So we do not like to kind of indulge in jargons or conversations that make it that much more difficult for people to apply what they have understood in their life. So without any further ado, maybe I can start today's conversation on suicide itself. There are a few people I can see joined in already, and they have kindly switched on the video. So thank you, Bhanumati, Veena, and others as well. As and when you can switch on the video, that'll be great. And I also see a few known faces amongst the group. So there may be discussions or conversations that you have already heard from me. But I hope it may be acting like a refresher for you guys. So first and foremost, the topic of the day: why should common man be more aware about suicide and suicide prevention for that matter? Now, predominantly to answer this question, we have to first consider what is suicide. We need to understand how bad the impact of it is, and is it helpful? How can it be even helpful if the common man has awareness about it? Because many of us, when we are trying to train people or bring awareness to people around suicide prevention, one of the first things that we get as a pushback is that, Sachin, do not use the S word, because there is a fear that if you use the S word, it may trigger people. So I would like to address these small areas, even though it's very common. Unfortunately, it is one of the biggest hurdles in providing help to someone dealing with suicidal thoughts. This issue with talking about suicide. So to address that, so let's begin today's conversation. When we are talking about suicide, and maybe I can just initiate a small this thing. When we talk about suicide, what do we kind of understand? What do we understand when we talk about suicide, right? What is suicide? Now, usually the definition would be given that it is when a person attempts to kill themselves or kills themselves with an intention to die, or harms themselves with an intention to die. That would be considered a suicide attempt. But where people get confused is why? Why would anyone do that, right? And one of the things that a very common thing that people tend to believe is that people die by suicide out of weakness, or feeling that, you know, they are seeking attention. They may be giving up, or they're finding an easy way out. These tend to be predominantly the conversations that happen. And one of the things causes for this is when we look at what happened, why did the person kill themselves, right? We tend to find answers like this, and you can let me know if you have heard this. I heard this person died by suicide, or this child died by suicide because their parents took away Instagram or mobile phone from their hands. We may hear sometimes that this person died by suicide because their relationship didn't work out, right? We may also hear that someone attempted suicide because they were facing a financial problem, they were facing a jail term, they could be facing some issue or the other, because of which they killed themselves, right? And I can see Bhanumati. So Bhanumati, you must have heard these things, right? Right. Now, is this true? Because if it is, then yes, it will sound like, because I have had a breakup, you may have had a breakup, and even we must have felt our world was ending when that happened. And Sachin, yes, even I felt for a moment to kill myself, but did I? I didn't do that. But this person did. Then obviously this person is weaker than me, right? It can be like a conclusion that we derive from this logistic. Someone killing themselves because their mobile phone was taken away. How can someone do that? Obviously, they did not have enough mental resilience. Obviously, they were weak, or they were trying to prove a point, or they did that out of vengeance, or multiple other reasons. But is it really true? No, right? And this is why, let's try to understand first what is suicide itself. And then I will look into how prevalent it is. And does it even make sense for us to be talking about it more openly? Or is it going to be opening up another Pandora's box and create more issues? So when we define suicide as when the pain of living exceeds the fear of dying. Now, what does that mean? What does pain mean? What does fear of dying mean? Now, because I can see two people here, Bhanumati, Veena. Do you guys have fear of dying? No fear? So think about it, Veena. When you cross the street, do you look left and right? You tend to look left and right, right? Before crossing the street. Why do you think that is? Or if you are, if you go to a terrace, I know nowadays not many people go to terrace, right? All these high rises, they tend to be closed. But the time when we go to terrace, do we lean over too much? Or we stop ourselves? We tend to stop ourselves. Why is that? Now, many people answer this by saying, Sachin, that's my smartness. That's my intelligence that tells me. Is it your intelligence or fear? And this is where we need to
This
first.
is a fear of the unknown. We don't know, no?
Right.
So that's why we don't want to do anything that we don't know.
Right. So the source of fear, the source of
That's a
wanting to protect ourselves. Yes, Veena?
that's a conditioned, reflex of
Hmm.
the
I assure
behavior.
you this conditioned reflex is there even as you grow up.
Right.
Right. So this fear of dying, so the safety that we seek, protection that we seek is a result of fear that we have. So it's not so much of smartness that we are having, but more, this is the response of fear. Fear is a protective emotion that we have. Right? डर के आगे जीत नहीं, डर के आगे मौत होने की chances होती है. So when we are doing this, when we are to understand what does it even mean, normally I talk about 9/11. Or in this case, we can even just talk about a burning building. But the 9/11 burning building, you guys were aware of it? The Twin Towers, USA. September 11, 2001, there was two flights crashed into the tallest twin towers in the world, 110 floors each, the Twin Towers and the World Trade Center. The planes crashed on the 60th and the 70th floor of the building. There was a massive fire that had happened, and thousands of people died once when the building crashed. Now, if you have seen the video, you would have noticed something that when that fire had raged, there were also people who were jumping from those burning buildings. Yes? Now, my question will be here. Those who were jumped from that burning building, from that 60th floor, from those 70th floor, would you call that a suicide? No. How about others who are listening in as well? There are quite a few people here. The question is right in front of you. People who jump from a burning building, would you call that a suicide? How many of you, let's just take a quick survey here.
No.
Okay, Himanshi would say it's not a suicide. Anyone who considers that to be a suicide in the group?
No, not a suicide.
Not a suicide. There are others as well. So predominantly the answer, anyone thinks it was a suicide? No, 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 no. Okay. Now, can you tell me what makes you think it is not a suicide? Veena, you said it is not a suicide. Could you tell me what makes you think it is not a suicide?
They try to save themselves.
They are trying to save themselves.
It was
Okay. One reason we have got is they were trying to save themselves. What else, Veena? Any other reason why you do not call that a suicide?
actually in that moment, so in that moment, the death was right in front of them. Right? If they had to die, they could stay there. So there was probably 0.001 chance that they might escape.
Right. So
they were going towards life, I guess.
There is another way of looking at it. When death was sure to occur, there were two options. One, you jump and then it is instantaneous. You don't feel the pain. And the other is you die with a lot of pain.
Right.
So if I'm in that situation, I would have jumped because at least I won't feel the pain.
But then if you were the one who was jumping, you wouldn't call that a suicide, would you?
No. I'm jumping to escape that because I knew anyway I'm going to die. It's an inevitable situation. So jumping will at least give me the minimum amount of physical suffering.
Is
And
that
if
sure?
I say
Is
that,
that something you're sure of? Now let's look into this, right? We have collected all these answers, and now let's look at it. Bhanumati, Veena, there was Himanshi as well who have shared. There are people in the chat who have shared as well. It's the element of fear and mere hopes of getting saved somehow. In fact, there was a statistic mentioned here of 0.001% chances of being saved. Now, if I ask you guys this simple question, any other day, if anyone were to jump from a 5-floor building, what would you call it? Would you call that a suicide? If someone jumped from a 5th-floor building, yes, you will call that a suicide, right?
Yeah.
What if the person jumps from a 10th-floor building?
It's a suicide.
This time you will say it was a pakka suicide.
no,
Right?
basically it's an intention. Suppose I may be experimenting with jumping, I may be an expert jumper. That's not the thing. It is the intention with which I am jumping, whether it's from the 5th floor or the 10th floor.
Right.
So that is more
From the
important,
5th floor.
not the floor.
Okay, so 5th floor, 10th floor. But from 10th floor, is anyone going to survive? Has anyone seen the 10th floor? Have you looked down from a 10th floor building?
There are very low chances.
Very low chances. What do you think the chances are from the 60th floor, 70th floor?
No chances at all.
No chances. What is the 0.001%? There is no chance that the person is surviving, right? But then we are also making this second claim that, well, is it better to die burning or jumping? Now, even in this case, we are thinking that the person is making this choice. So let's look at it from this perspective. We think, and Bhanumati has added this caveat that, Sachin, it's not the jump, it is the intention that they are looking at. Now, if there is 0.0% chance of survival, if you jump from a 60th floor building, the person is aware of this, right? In fact, if you had seen the video, have you guys seen the video of the 9/11 attacks? Some of you may have, right? Bhanumati, Veena, like, if you have seen that, you would have noticed that there were people holding on to that window for maybe even half an hour, 20 minutes or longer before eventually jumping. Right? So I think even they knew what will happen if you jump from that height. But they still did. So when we are talking about intentions, many a times we actually confuse intention with wishing. And this is where I would like to make a small distinction today. The people who died by jumping from the WTC, World Trade Center, from 60th floor, those were suicides too. Unfortunately, we do not categorize them as suicides because of the stigma that is associated with the term suicide itself. Now, let me show that to you how. For this, let's do a thought exercise where imagine you guys are with me in that building. We are in that building on the 60th floor, in that burning room. Right? Don't worry, I'll protect you guys since it's an imaginary exercise. So now imagine when you're standing inside this burning room, are you able to see anything? What do you see?
Smoke.
Smoke, fire, flames, you can't see anything essentially. It's just smoke everywhere. What do you hear? It's just fires, things bursting here and there, people screaming. This is what we hear. Are they, how are they experiencing it? Is there pain? And for this question, I'll like to also check. Have you guys ever burnt your finger, maybe over like hot water or something like that? How did you react when Mumbai mein we call it chatka lagta hai. When you got chatka from that hot vessel, how did you behave? Did you move away? Put your hand away, right? So we didn't hold on to it because the pain was excruciating. Now that was 100 degrees. This building actually fell down. Why? Because the concrete and steel melted because of the intensity of the fire. And that temperature needs to be above 1400 degrees. That's when steel and concrete melts. So if I ask you again, how do you think was the pain they experienced in that room? Would you be right to say unbearable?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Unbearable pain they experience. And when they are not able to see anything, they are not able to hear anything, they are in unbearable pain. Can they breathe because of all the smoke? No, they are suffocating. Right? And are they able to escape by opening the door, and could they leave?
No, they are not able to see anything. How they can?
Nah. So we can't see anything, we can't hear anything. I am not able to breathe. And in that suffocating area, I'm not able to escape. But the pain is unbearable. Somehow I managed to reach the window. I break open the window. And when I look down, is it the ground floor? No, it is the 60th floor. Can you even imagine what do you see from the 60th floor down? The answer is clouds. You see clouds when you look down. And then they had to make this choice. That I am presented a choice of dying. Dying is...
What about panic?
Now, there could be some people who just got into panic and jumped, sure. But even then, nobody pushed them. This wasn't a case of murder. The person had to jump from their own free will, whatever freeness that we can bring into this picture. They made a choice. They could have stayed there, sure. But they jumped. Knowing well what is going to happen if they jump. There is no 0.01 chance here. That is why I used this 60th floor example as well. But we don't call this suicide. You know why? We call everything else suicide. We don't call this suicide. And the reasons, like you mentioned, they didn't want to die. They wanted to save themselves. And all these reasons, Sachin, they didn't have a choice. Unki majboori thi. Our problem is with every other suicide, guys. That is where our problem exists. Let's see how.
No, the person who dies of suicide also, उनके पास भी उस वक्त कोई choice नहीं रहती ना. They also.
But हम उसे suicide बोलते हैं ना, भानुमति.
हाँ?
हम तो उसे suicide बोलते हैं ना, but उनके पास choice नहीं थी. Because this is what I would like us to understand here. All of you present here, do you guys have pain in your life? Is there pain in your life? Yes, there is pain in your life. That means in all of your lives, inside you, there is a burning room. Is there one burning room, Ikra? A small burning room is there. Now, the point is, this burning room's temperature right now is a manageable 40, 50 degrees. Or 35. Let's keep it nice and warm. It's about 35 degrees. It's just warm enough for you to leave your home, go to work, do your things, come back, be responsible, you know, zimmedari ki aag. The responsibilities that we have, the worries that we have, uski aag hai. There is pain from that. But now imagine that same pain, if that pain were to reach 1000 degrees. What would that be for you? This is the part we don't understand. And hence, I would like us to go back to the definition of suicide that I gave us here. Suicide is when the pain of living exceeds the fear of dying. When we are thinking about the comparison we made between this particular example and every other suicide, our issue is not with this suicide. Our issue is with every other suicide. Because we think that when people are killing themselves, they wanted to die. That there is a wish in them that kash, mar jate. Hai na? Where we are thinking that people have, just like today there is rains in Mumbai. And when it is rainy and cloudy, we have this wish ki thoda pakode or chai. Some tea and pakodas would be going so well right now. Do you think that is how people experience suicidal thoughts? Just like a wish, aaj thoda mausam suicide aana hai. Today the weather is a bit suicidal. So let me think about suicide. Let me kill myself. Do you think this is how people operate?
No.
No. So when we are talking about intention with an intent to die, understand that this intent is not a wish to die. And this is where we all go wrong. When we think that a person taking a step to die, it needs to come from a wish to die. No. The person is aware of the consequence of what is in front of them. They do not feel they have a choice in this matter.
But basically, they need to have a lot of courage to take their own life.
Now, do you see, this is also another problem. Now, think about it. For the people who jumped from the 60th floor building, would you call, when they were jumping, would you have said, oh my God, look at this person who's so weak? Would you have said, for example, this person is attention seeking? Or would you have said, this person is giving up so easily? Thodi aag nahi bardasht kar paya. He is not able to handle some fire. What is wrong with this person? Or would you have thought, hey, this person is so selfish. They are not even thinking of their family members. Yeah. Being so selfish. Thoda aag nahi bardasht kar rahe apne family ke liye. If you love them, you will stay, you will hold on. Or would you have called it a courageous thing? Look at them. They jumped from 70th floor. So courageous. No, you wouldn't. None of these values can be placed onto this attempt because the only thing coming in here was pain. And what the person was trying to move away from was pain. The only difference between this suicide, and yes, this is a suicide, and every other suicide is that in this particular suicide, you got to see a video of their pain. You got to see a video of their pain and helplessness. What do you think about that? Because when I ask you guys, Veena, everyone said yes, na, there is pain in your life. Can I see your pain, Veena? Is your pain visible to me or anybody else? Even if you have a partner of how many ever years, do even they know your pain completely? Is my question.
Not really.
Not really. No. Is an emphatic answer we can all come up with. But if they were able to actually see your pain, and this is where I will be questioning for a person who is suicidal or takes that step, if anyone were to actually see the pain, the temperature that has gone inside them, which is so high that right now in front of them, they do not believe, they do not feel that they have a choice other than to live, other than to die. Now, would we still call it that they are wishing to die? No. So it's this is what stigma looks like. Suicide is the
Sachin,
way or the...
in Lifeline, we were taught that suicide is a cry for help. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Right. So even in this, right, you take that same example. The person, were they feeling helpless? Were they feeling hopeless? And were they in a terrible amount of pain? Yes. Just because in this particular example, you were able to see all of that. When I see fire, when I see a person in that desperate situation, I do not need anyone to explain to me how much pain that person is. I do not need a proof of how much pain that person is in. I am able to justify that Sachin, even I would have done the same thing in their place. Then I'm able to understand that this is a cry for help. That person didn't have a choice, Sachin. They need help. But when we are talking about someone with suicidal thoughts, we are unable to offer them this same empathy, this same sympathy. We are unable to offer them. Why? Because we first want them to prove their pain to us. Can it be that bad that the person may want to kill themselves? And this is where we
for that person, it is that bad.
It is that
may not be for me.
Exactly. And when we are talking about pain, Bhanumati, is there pain only in one part of your life? No. है ना, लंका पूरी जल रही है. There is pain in every part of my life. So when I am looking at suicide as well, this is one of the first things I need to understand. Suicide is a symptom of pain. It is not someone wishing. Absolutely nobody wishes upon suicide. This is the first thing we need to address. Nobody wishes upon suicide. कोई ये नहीं सोचता कि यार मरना है, मजा आएगा. That is not what happens. When we are talking about suicide, we need to see that suicide is a symptom rather than an act. And just like when we were able to see the 9/11, when we were able to see that their jumping was a symptom of the pain that they were under. We could see their pain. We were able to visualize their pain. In the same way, are we able to offer that understanding to anyone else who's attempted suicide? Is this downgrading of people's intention that we look at? Because whatever was the reason that we heard last apparently becomes the whole reason why the suicide happened. And this is why the problem is. क्या भानु आपके लाइफ में एक ही प्रॉब्लम है? नहीं. Right? And but the person who you spoke to last must have heard how your Instagram account wasn't working. So what happens? The reason for your death becomes that Instagram account. But completely failing to see the complex, cumulative nature of a human being. This pain that is inside the person is not a momentary pain that has just popped up. It is a result of a long duration as well, right? So first and foremost, every time a person kills themselves, the intention or want is not to be questioned. It is a suicide. It is a suicide. And before we try to bifurcate between suicides, when a road accident happens, you call it a road accident no matter what, right? You don't put in a value judgment over there. कि ये वाला road accident है, this person was drunk, तो drunk accident नहीं है, still it's a road accident. The person didn't intend to kill anyone. Or if they intended to as well, you would have still called it that. So this particular bifurcation is something we need to stop making. A suicide is a suicide. It's when we think that one suicide is better than the other, we are introducing a judgment. What do you guys think about that? Right? So the 9/11 jumps that happened, those were suicides too. But now let's understand the causes then. Because when we think about causes, our understanding of suicide will just improve on it a bit more. And over here, I will introduce Schneidman's 3 Ps of suicide. This is to understand what happens just before a suicide. When we are looking at suicide, the causes of suicide, we understand that there is never one reason for suicide, ever. Right? What do I mean by that? So to do this, we have another thought exercise. What we'll do, again, I see the people in front of me. I'll ask you guys, imagine, have you all attended school, gone to 10th standard, you know, the major year that we have to cross? Now imagine, Banu, that tomorrow is your 10th standard exam. Okay? 7 o'clock, you have to report to work, to school. But today is Diwali, or take any other festival of choice. Durga Puja is happening today. So all the relatives, kids, you know, everyone has come to your house. Would you be able to study today? No, almost impossible. But would that worry you? Would that add tension to you? Stress to you? Yes, yes, it will. So what will Bhanu do? Bhanu is a good student though. You know what she does? She's like, by 10:30 after dinner and all, people will leave. So I will start studying from 10:30. From 10:30 to 6 o'clock, I will study. Right? From 10:30 to 6 o'clock, I'll finish one study, 3 revision. And then 6 o'clock, I'll go take a shower, change my clothes, eat some food, then go to school. And Bhanu will pass, right? Good job, Bhanu. But guess what happened? 10:30, the relatives left. And Bhanu is already aware what is going to happen. They left and so did electricity. Light went off. So now what happened, Bhanu? More stress? Yes. But again, Bhanu convinced herself. You know, Bhanu is like those very resilient people. She told herself, hey, anyways, I was very tired with all this running around. So I will take a nap. Right? I'll sleep till 1 o'clock. By that time, electricity will be back. Right? So from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I will do 1 round of studies and 2 revisions. 1 revision less. And then the same thing, 6 o'clock, I will take a shower, go change my clothes, eat something, go to school. Bhanu passes again? Yes. In fact, her entire locality, the light had gone off, so she will still be the topper. Nobody else could study. So good job, Bhanu. But what happened? Did you wake up at 1 o'clock, Bhanu? No, that's why she's laughing so much. She didn't wake up at 1 o'clock. What time did she wake up? I'll tell you. She woke up at 7 o'clock. Oh my. 7 o'clock was when you were supposed to report, yeah? You woke up at 7. Now, do you have time to shower, eat, or any such thing? No, you're already late. So you change your clothes. Somehow you tell mom some bad words. Like you don't want your daughter to pass or what. You want her to be a housewife like you only. That's why you didn't wake me up. La, 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 la. You said some bad words and you ran. You reached the schools half an hour late. And when you entered the classroom, it was your favorite teacher. The one who always picks on you. And she saw you walking in half an hour late. So she started with her, "Arey, aa gayi, madam." Right? Obviously in Bengali or English. And she started taunting.
I'm not a Bengali. I think in Tamil only.
Oh, in Tamil. So if that, then in Tamil, she started blaming you. Right? She started making fun of you. You started begging with her. You were sweating with all this running. So you're like, ma'am, please give me the paper. I will fail. So she finally took some pity over you and gave you the paper. Now, finally, after you got the paper, your hands are shaking. Now, 1 or 2 questions you kind of remember, but now, after all this stress, even those answers are out. So what does Bhanu do? Bhanu writes whatever was the popular movie of that time. She wrote down the story of that. You know? So whatever popular Tamil movie you liked at that time, Roja or whatever, and I don't know.
No, in my days, it was Shivaji Ganeshan and Padmini.
Wonderful.
Roja, I think the next generation.
Then next generation, sorry. So Shivaji Ganeshan ka top movie of that time, you wrote down the nice story of that. Okay, Om Namah Shivaya in the end. 50 rupees donation also you put in just in case if the teacher will fall for that. You gave that and all you can do is now pray. But after this as well, is your stress over? No. From here, you have to rush for classes or tuition at that time. Till evening, now you have tuition because tomorrow's paper is also very tough. You somehow go through that and you're hungry, you haven't drank water, you haven't eaten, you're stinking, and all through this, you're just sitting. And you're thinking, 7 o'clock when the tuition gets over, with my friends, I will go out, I will step out, I'll eat something from outside only, and that will just freshen me up. And then I will go home and study. But what happened? Your friends that day left you. They didn't wait back. They simply ran away. And now Bhanu is even more upset. But she's told, okay, no, don't worry. I will still go home. There is food from yesterday. I will eat that. You reach home, Bhanu, but then there you see a big lock on your door. Nobody is at home. So what do? Get more upset. But you go to your neighbor. Neighbor uncle, you go. I normally use Sharma uncle, but now I see your surname is also Sharma. So neighborhood ke Sharma uncle, you went there. In Tamil Nadu, maybe the Sharma may not be there. Nadar uncle was there. So you went to them. You asked for key. You took the key. You came back. And while you were trying to open the door, the lock, the key also fell down from you. Now my question to you, Bhanu, is will you end up screaming or saying some bad word in nice Tamil? Yes. Something will come out. And now my question to you is, who saw that? Nadar uncle, he's still standing there. No, he's standing there. He has to take the key back. No. Now tell me, what did Nadar uncle see?
He will see that this girl is misbehaving.
Weirdly, no?
Weirdly, huh?
Right? What is wrong with this generation? A key falls down and they shout and scream and say such bad words. Oh my God. What is wrong with this generation? Right? But then if I were to ask you, did you scream because of the key falling down? Or did you scream because the door was locked? Or did you
chain reaction? Chain
reaction, right? You didn't scream because of the exam or the classes or your friends or your mother, or because you didn't wake up, or because you didn't study, or because yesterday was Diwali or Durga Puja. There were a million things that had happened. But can you point out one reason why you screamed? No. What you will say is, Sachin, it was a mix of all of these reasons because of which I screamed. It would be called a cumulative impact. Yes? Now, in that same vein, I have to ask you, this is the same thing when we are talking about suicide. Right? We think that when we hear a suicide and we ask them why, what happened? They tell us the last thing that they heard. The Instagram
Sachin, I have a question here. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go on.
At times we read in newspapers, 7-year-old boy, of course, coming from the lower income strata, wanted a 5 rupee note from his mother. The mother is not able to provide, so he goes and hangs himself. So, and then we in TV, all the psychologists, they all discuss about the mental status of the child and all. For that small child also, does the child has this cumulative effect?
Of course. Why wouldn't he? Why do you think a 7-year-old would suddenly feel such a attachment to a 5 rupee note? And who is this storyteller who is so aware of this person's last moment that this 5 rupee note was the one that did everything? Isn't it the same as that chabi that fell down, the key that fell down? Because if Nadar uncle was asked this question, why did Bhanumati scream? You will get the answer as, it is the child who just, their key fell down, and maybe the mental state of this child was very weird. And that is why they screamed. You got a logical answer, did you? But was it the truth? It wasn't. We all become these Nadar uncles when we hear of suicide, because we don't know why suicide happens. We are unable to see the pain behind that burning room. We are unable to see the pain behind that locked door. Because this pain is not something that is visible. Right? With mental health issues as well, we call it an invisible illness. Why? Because we only see the impact of it. We do not see, if a person breaks their hand, you're able to see the broken hand. There is a swelling and all of those things. When a person is going through emotional pain, when the person is going through mental crisis, are we able to see it? No. But when the person is not able to bear it and it shows up in their actions, we make up some stupid reason like this. We find that chabi. And we put the entire blame of that suicide on that chabi. This is our understanding of suicide, unfortunately. But are you able to see how limited that understanding is? Then we are unable to see everything that has led to that moment. And if we have just this simplistic linear understanding of suicide, that 5 rupee note not given, suicide happens, then obviously I will seem stronger, no? And that person will sound weaker. Because Sachin, even my mom said no to me for 5 rupee note. They even said no to me for a cycle and a doll and a Barbie ka full this thing set, or a car, or whatever. They have said no to me. I didn't kill myself, so I am good, that person is weak, is the conclusion that you guys come up, or we come up.
Sachin, many times in our life, we have also had, at least I have had suicidal thoughts. Like I was not a good student at all, and when teacher used to reprimand me in front of all the students, at that time I used to feel like wo Sita ki tarah zameen phat jaye, I will go inside and disappear. Is that also suicidal thought only?
Sure.
That let it break, let me disappear from here rather than face the humiliation in front
what
of
that is
all
an
my class.
intrusive thought.
Yeah?
What that is, what that was an intrusive thought. Suicidal thoughts are also intrusive thoughts, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. But
now,
we also have at many times, I have had it many times whenever I've faced a failure in my personal life, I felt like committing suicide. But what is it that stopped me? I didn't do the real act of suicide. What is it? I would like to know.
Yes, because when see, imagine any other day, Bhanu, any other day, if your chabi had fell down, if your key had fell down, would you have screamed? No. But when this happened with all of these other things combined, that's when it hit you. Right? So understand this. So again, let us connect it back to the pain of living.
Then what is the difference between this cumulative effect and at times when we do have those suicidal thoughts, but we don't act upon it? So what is actually is it the intensity difference?
Yes,
or
many a
because
time.
the thought is still there, no?
Yes.
So what is?
Now, those will be coming in the stages of suicidal thoughts. See, you can have a sprain or you can have a broken bone. Is the pain same?
No.
Are you understanding now? When we are talking about the pain becoming unbearable for the person. If I have a sprain, but I have also had a lower back pain for 5 years. Now, even a small sprain, is it adding more to my discomfort? Is the intensity increasing? Do you see this cumulative effect is what I'm talking about. And this is why when we are looking at the Schneidman's 3 Ps of suicide, we understand this a bit more clearly. For a suicide to happen, minimum 3 conditions have to be met. The 3 Ps are, the first P is psych ache or psychological pain is at a high level. Now, psychic, what do we understand by psychic or psychological pain? In simple words, if I have to explain psychological pain, this would mean any and every unprocessed trauma of your life. Does that make sense? Any and every unprocessed, right from your childhood, you have received multiple traumas, right? Adverse childhood experiences happen. But all the way up to adulthood or to whatever age, if there is experiences, traumas that the person hasn't gotten over, that pain acts up, it builds up, it keeps on building up. We are all like balloons, right? We keep on building up till we can't take it no more. So the psychological pain is at very high. Second, P is perturbation, Perturbation, perturbation. What do we understand by perturbation? Now, perturbation, imagine, have you ever almost drowned? Have you ever suffocated? Right? That energy, that suffocative energy you experience, that helplessness with anxiety, right? It is very much connected almost. It's an anxious energy that you experience when you're almost suffocating. This energy, this is called perturbation. Right? So high level of psychological pain, high level of perturbation, high level of helplessness. So imagine for a person, if they're experiencing hopelessness or helplessness, they're feeling stuck, unable to move or get help. They're feeling useless or they're feeling worthless. This is the space in which you feel perturbed. And very often this energy, you are pretty much saying there is probably a mental health disorder as well to experience this high level of perturbation, high level of helplessness, this feeling like stuck between the 60th floor, the death in front of me and the fire behind me, between the devil and the deep sea, this stuck, this perturbation. Is that making sense? Right? And the third P is a pressor. When I say a pressor is a precipitating factor. What does that mean? It is the one thing that happens prior to a suicide attempt. Right?
Do you mean to say trigger?
You can call it a trigger as well, but again, it is in this case, right? Even in the 9/11 example, you will see all these three things. This is the one thing that happened. This is the chabi falling. Right? That the one that broke the camel's back. So the one thing that happens just prior to the attempt, if that is at a high degree for the person as well. So these three things have to be met. These three conditions.
What did you say? What did you mean when you said deep sea and devil or something?
The devil, between the devil and the deep sea, or between the, the person is between the frying pan and the fire.
Oh, and the fire.
Like,
okay.
Yes,
okay.
kind of a thing, because it's like a catch-22, right? I'm in a helpless situation. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. We have a million phrases to express this part. Right? So this kind of a helplessness, in addition with high level of psychological pain, in this condition, you add in a pressor or a trigger. That is when a suicide happens. But unfortunately, we blame the entire incident of suicide on that last trigger. We fail to see the psychological pain that the person was in. We fail to see the mental health issues or the perturbation that the person, or the helplessness that the person was experiencing. This is what we are not able to see in suicidal people with suicidal ideation. Is that making sense now? Right? We were able to see all these three things in that burning room. There was a visual proof to us, given to us in that video. Unfortunately, people, when you are not getting to see this, people are not able to show you the proof for their pain, for their helplessness. How do I explain to someone that I feel so helpless that I cannot even see another way? It's not symbolic. The person is actually going through that level of pain. Right? And hence, it is a suicide, but it is not a sign of weakness or even courage. It is not a sign of taking things easy or wanting to die or attention seeking or giving up. None of these things apply. Is that making sense now? And in the same manner, if we have to help, provide help, what we need to understand is, if any of these three, it's similar to fire. For a fire to take place, you need three things, which are the oxygen, the fuel, and the flame, the heat, the trigger, the chingari, the spark. Right? Matches. The spark is needed. If all these three conditions are met, only then a fire happens, right? If there is no fuel, will there be fire? No. If there is no oxygen, will there be fire? No. And if there is no spark or heat, will there be fire? No. So what we need to understand over here, similarly, if the psychological pain of the person is managed, or that perturbation or mental health issue is handled, or the trigger is managed, any of these cases, if it is handled, then there is no suicide. Is that making sense? Right? So suicide is not a result of any of the above reasons that we had discussed earlier. It is not an intention to die or wanting to die or any such thing. Anywhere a person has taken their own life without it being going through a lens of did the person, the conditions that the person was in before they did it meet our social sense of how much pain a person can bear? It is when we apply this kind of lens to it is when we start judging this is suicide and this is not suicide. And the moment we start doing this bifurcation is when we introduce stigma.
Achha, can you repeat that? Fuel, oxygen plus spark causes fire.
Yes.
But here, what is the
3 P's, right? The psych pain.
Oh, are these 3 P's? Okay.
Yes. Okay. These 3 P's are the causes. So if these 3 P's are managed, and this is how we operate in suicide helplines as well, right? Where we are, through active listening, the person is able to share their helplessness. So the perturbation, the anxious energy that they are experiencing, that goes down. When the person is able to talk through about the painful things in their life, their psychological pain gets acknowledged, which helps in the release of this suicidal. Is that making sense now? Right? So anytime a person takes their own life, it is a suicide. The problem is when we start judging whether this suicide is a good suicide or a bad suicide. That is where we are also introducing stigma. So when we are talking about suicide, the only thing that we need to remember when we are looking at the cause of suicide, and you want to be right 100% of the time, the answer you will have is, why did the person die by suicide? The answer is the person was in pain. Now, if you were able to see the pain or not, we don't know. Is that making sense, right? So this is how we would want to understand suicide in the first place. And then, with that in mind, let's quite quickly address where we are right now in India with this. Why is it so important for the common man to be able to talk about suicide? Bhanu was very kind enough to mention that she has experienced suicidal thoughts. But she is not the only one. In the world, India is currently the suicide capital. What do I mean? Every year, around 8 lakh people die by suicide in the world. And India loses over 1,70,000 people. This is the recorded number. And when we look at the unreported numbers, the actual number of suicides in India is over 2,50,000 people, in which there are over 13,000 children dying by suicide. That is, below 18 years of age, over 13,000 children die by suicide every year. We are the country where between the ages of 15 to 29, suicide is the biggest cause of death. India, if you look at it, data from a women perspective, female perspective, 1/3 of females in the world who die by suicide are Indians, making it the highest population. Similarly for men. But do we talk about this? No. Why are we talking? Why are we saying that it needs to be spoken out more? Is because we think that if you talk about suicide is when suicide happens. Unfortunately, this couldn't be farther away from truth. The year 2022, officially, we lost over 1,70,000 lives to suicide. Do you think how many of them were asked this question? Have you been feeling suicidal? How many of them do you think a conversation was had with a loved one where they spoke about that this is how I am feeling? Do you really think that they were asked this question? No. Asking the question does not cause suicide, but what it does is it addresses the issue. It is when we ask about suicide that the person for the first time is able to talk about this inner fire that is burning them alive. That hopelessness, helplessness that they're experiencing, they're finally able to talk about it to someone, because everyone's understanding of suicide is something that people just wish upon or just want. then isn't it easy? Because if I tell Bhanu, I am feeling suicidal, I've had thoughts of dying, of killing myself, then Bhanu will simply tell me, stop thinking that. Answer is so simple, isn't it? Now, do you think, Bhanu, that the person is wishing upon suicide, or is the person stuck there? Right? They do not have that choice. But if we are able to initiate this conversation, let's see what happens. Many people, when we are even holding these trainings as well, we get asked, Sachin, but if we ask this question, will it not make the person angry, or will it not make them do, or will it not plant the idea in their head? Research after research, suicide is one of the widely researched topics. It's been researched for over 60 years. Now, over 80 years, it has been researched. Every research has come out with the answer that asking someone about suicide does not cause suicide, does not plant the idea of suicide. But in fact, it does the opposite. What it does is it actually releases some of the anxiety that the person may be experiencing, and they may finally be able to talk about it. And it is through this conversation that they finally may be able to receive some help. And when we are talking about help here, it is not necessarily for that last trigger that they are seeking help. They even are not aware that they may be having mental health issues. How many of us do you think are having mental health issues in this group right now? Because WHO has given us the numbers. Over 50%.
I think we all have at some point of time. We don't behave diplomatically. I show my true colors. So that shows. Acha, I want to know that when you're saying asking about it will address the pain, then why is it that of course now they have decriminalized it, but why was it considered a crime that was one question, why it is considered a crime, and previously they used to say commit suicide, and now they have rephrased it into died of suicide or attempted suicide. So commit means the moment, then it gets attached to crime, no? So
see, now this is English, right? I assure you, nobody has killed themselves because you said committed suicide in front of them. Okay, that is not an issue. Yes, language plays an important part. With committed, there is a sense of liability that we are attaching to the act. But also, English is not our first language in India. We need to simply understand this as well. Every newspaper, every article, even the person who attempts suicide will also say, I tried to commit suicide. Now, are you going to be interested in correcting their language or getting them help? Getting them help should come first, instead of trying to change the person's mind. When a person is talking about their high level of pain, what we need to address is their pain rather than don't do suicide. It's like if I have got cold, I'm sneezing. Everyone is concerned about the sneeze, but not about the cold, the bacteria, whatever is needed behind it. So I will again ask, right? If a person is talking about suicide, should we be telling the person or talking to the person about not doing suicide? Or should we be looking at the pain that they are experiencing? Because that is where it is coming from. Right? So when we are talking about addressing suicide, it's about asking the question openly and being helpful to the person, that just by the person able to talk about it, that the chances and them getting any help, the chances of dying by suicide drastically reduces. In fact, it is one of the most preventable forms of death that is there. To understand that, over 80% of people who attempt suicide show warning signs. They show warning signs, especially week, 2 weeks preceding the attempt. They show warning signs. This is where suicide gatekeeper courses and things, sessions help, where people are able to identify these warning signs and are able to take steps, ask the question and help. Right? Over 90% of those who attempt suicide, in fact, it is higher than that as well. Over 90% of those who attempt suicide and survive, for example, they never attempt suicide again. So over 90% of them, when they attempt suicide, they do not die. They do survive. And out of those who survive, over 70% of them never attempt suicide again. These are all statistically available for us. So when we are trying to address suicide, what we need to be able to do is be able to talk about it. And a simpler way to understand this will be, 20 years ago, if there was someone with AIDS or cancer, we would say, don't talk about it. Don't say the word. But is that why cancer or AIDS happened? Because you said the word? Or you asked about it? No. Now think about it. In today's world, if anyone were to talk about cancer or beta uncle ko, even a small kid, if you tell them that this person has got cancer, even they don't get scared. Their response first is it, what stage is it? Is it the 4th stage? Because if it is not, then the person will survive. It is when we are armed with right knowledge that we are actually able to help. It is this fear that comes from unknown, right? Banu, you had mentioned at the start of the session itself. Sachin, is this the fear of the unknown? Yes, it is. Because we don't know anything about suicide. Because we don't want to use the term, because we don't want to hear about the term. It's only when you're armed with the right knowledge of suicide that the fear that you have about suicide will also dissipate. It is then that we are able to finally take the steps to actually help the person. Right? And it has become so important. Why? Because like I said, WHO has already mentioned that over 50% of the Indian population is going through depression. Over 40% is dealing with anxiety issues. That means over 40% are dealing with comorbidity. In this particular session, we have around 18 people. That means over 9, almost 9 of you are dealing with mental health issues. Right? When we are saying that across the world, 1 out of 5 people will have suicidal thoughts at some point of time in their life. India is the suicide capital. So that number changes. For India, it is 2 or 3 out of 5 will experience suicidal ideation at some point of time. What does that statistic tell us? If there are 18 people in this room, how many of you would have experienced suicidal ideation? Or are probably even experiencing it right now? Right? You're looking upwards of 8 people. Now tell me, how will you identify them? Right? We can't. But only through an open conversation will those who are going through such pain be able to get help, will be able to talk about it. You asked about criminality. Imagine the time when Corona was happening. Didn't we kind of consider Corona almost like an illegal activity? We were telling people don't go.
But it is still considered a taboo, no? People don't want to talk about it.
Corona, right? But imagine now.
No, not Corona. I'm talking about suicide.
Yeah, but in the same.
A taboo. People don't want to talk about it.
Because even in this training, right, we are volunteers. Many of you are volunteers who have been working in suicide prevention helpline. Even we are still taken by the stigma of suicide. Even we make the differentiation between the one suicide and another suicide, because this is more suicidal than the other one. Because the knowledge has just not dissipated to the masses of what suicide really is.
Because I still remember before the 10th September, as a Lifeline volunteer, we used to distribute those bookmarks, leaflets, flyers, and especially in metro station and all. And when we used to give it to students, the moment they will see it like an electric shock, they used to throw it, as if the mere touching of that bookmark or flyer is going to, just like as you said, like an AIDS, that is going to take away my life.
Yes.
So
but now if those people were armed with
ignorance.
Yes, true. And now imagine if those people were armed with the right knowledge that isse suicide nahi hota. Just like that Shabana Azmi ad that happened in around AIDS. छूने से प्यार फैलता है, AIDS नहीं. पूछने से दर्द कम होता है, suicide नहीं. Is something we should be able to consider. right? That when we are asking about suicidal thoughts, if we see a person who's going through a lot of pain, and we are surprised, how is this person dealing with this pain? Maybe instead of being surprised and shocked about the person's tenacity and resilience, maybe check with them, hey, you're dealing with so much pain. Has ever suicide crossed your thought as well? This is not as suggesting an idea to them, but trying to address. The same way, if someone was sneezing, wheezing during the worst times of Corona, we would have checked, hey, did you get yourself tested for Corona? If you liked the person, if you loved the person, you would have asked this question. If you didn't care about the person, sure, you would have just avoided the person. Or make your mask a bit more tighter around your face. But if you cared about the person, you would have asked them this question, yes or no? It's the same thing I'm asking you to do here. Right? And just like when Corona was criminalized, right? We were told, don't go to the medical store and even ask for paracetamol because we were scared police will come to our home and take us out. This is the same thing that stigma has resulted for suicide as well. People with suicidal thoughts are unable to ask for help. Why? Because we all think that suicide is something that they are wishing upon, or they are attention seeking, or they are weak, or whatever reason we come up with. How is that person going to ask for help if you think it is a crime? If you think it is wrong to think that way, do you think the person has the choice to not be suicidal? That these intrusive thoughts that are coming in their mind, that they have some tap that they have left open and forgot to turn it off. So we have to remind them, turn that off. Is that what is happening? No, the person is seeking help. And many a times, even they do not have the vocabulary because they don't have the right knowledge. Where is this thought coming from? What we have actually seen on ground is majority of the people who experience suicidal thoughts, especially for the first time, the thought freaks them out. Even they get scared. Oh my God, what did I just think? I just thought of killing myself. Where did this come from? Even they are afraid. But are they able to talk about it? No, because the moment they were to bring this up with anyone, they will be shut down. They'll be told to meditate or think better, have positive thoughts and all that nonsense. What about a friend who will listen to me? And
Sir,
yes, Himanshi.
Actually, I think in India, we don't talk about suicide. The main reason is Indians think that if the person don't know what is suicide, then he or she didn't do that.
Yes, but tell me about the 13,000 children who killed themselves. Among those 13,000 children, over 100 were below 12 years old. Below 12 years old. Who trained them? This is a human software, a programming that happens for a human being. We have to understand this. If a human being experiences psychological pain to a high degree where they are feeling helpless, and then any issues happen on top of that, it can result in suicide. Until and unless we understand this, not talking about it is not going to help. But if more people are able to understand where this is coming from, then they will be able to address. Instead of taking away the mobile phone and stopping the Instagram or not giving my son 5 rupee note, can you imagine the mother or father who has now been accused of killing their son? Essentially, that is what you have accused the parent of. Because you didn't give 5 rupees, why the child killed themselves. Can you imagine how that person is supposed to survive for the rest of their life? Because this is wrong. This is not right. What you did was lie to that parent. The child did not kill themselves because of a stupid 5 rupee note.
Even the media sensationalizes
because it is their job.
Being sensitive towards it. No, we are not sensitive. Like in Calcutta, frequently in metro, when we are going in metro station, this happens. Instead of being sensitive to it, when the train gets stopped, when I travel, people get so irritated and they say, और कोई जगह नहीं मिला क्या, यहाँ ही आकर मरना था. Why they had to do it here? हमारा काम
because they don't understand that suicide happens because of pain.
Very insensitive.
Because they think that इसको suicide करना था, मजा है ना suicide करने में. तो इसने हमारा टाइम खराब कर दिया. Is insensitive. Why? Because nobody has told them why. Nobody has shown them, nobody has spoken to them. We don't understand where this comes from. When we are talking about over 50% of our country is dealing with depression, guys, we are talking about a powder keg of pain. Over 50% of us would be experiencing suicidal thoughts. And while we are dealing with suicidal thoughts and our own pain, and we are not getting a space to ventilate, to talk, to be listened to, when someone else is doing it, what do I feel? ये भी कर रहा है. हमारे पास रीजन नहीं है क्या करने के लिए. But मैं कैसे तो I am holding on to this. Even this person is not taking help. Why? Because again, this entire stigma behaves like a loop. And the worst part of a suicide is every suicide impacts over 120 people. And amongst those 120 people, over 20 people, it creates such an impact that their chances of having suicidal thoughts in the future increases by 10%. A suicide does not just happen in a vacuum. It creates a cycle of its own. And in India, we have been losing over 1 lakh people annually since 2008. We had a pandemic for over 15 years that we have not addressed. And we are still finding reasons to not talk about it. So that is where my submission to this group will end here. That until and unless we are able to talk about it and more people are able to understand truly what a suicide is, maybe we will start looking at a suicide with a bit more compassion, a person with suicidal ideation with a bit more compassion, and also see that this is me too, right? Because it's not that it only happens with someone with a lower income. No, even the rich people are dying. The young are dying, the old are dying, the male, female, the transgender. There's suicide across every sector. In corporates, in hospitals, the smartest of surgeons, the biggest conglomerate chairmen, entrepreneurs. There's suicide impacting so many of our lives. But we are still not ready to talk about it. So this is why this year's International Suicide Prevention Day, World Suicide Prevention Day, is also focusing on changing the narrative and starting this conversation. It is high time. And until and unless we are able to address this, this problem is only going to keep on increasing. So this is also a humble appeal to the people, whoever this video is reaching to as well. So let's start the conversation. Let's give them help and let's change the narrative. So with that, thank you all for listening so patiently to the session. If there are any questions, maybe we could address them for about 10-15 minutes, I guess, Shifa. And post that we should be done. Thank you, everyone.
No questions, anyone? So that we can just end the session over here. Right?
Sachin, I have 2 questions.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Veena. Can you hear us?
So yeah, I can. My internet is not very stable. I'm unable to come on the video.
No problem.
The first thing is when we talk about suicide among the younger generation, there's also an element of impulsivity, quick gratification and things like that. But what I hear is that behind every suicide, there is pain. There is a cumulative impact of different, pains at different stages of life, whatever. So how do you explain that? I mean,
so because I haven't seen
there could be impulsivity.
Who is saying that? Where is the research?
Yeah.
Who's saying that and where is the research for that? Because calling kids impulsive is a very simple getaway card. Who's saying that? Where did you get that information?
Borderline, yeah.
You have to question these information. Who's giving you this information? That kids are doing it out of impulsivity. We need to be able to address these questions because whatever information I presented, these are statistics that I presented to you. Whatever information, these are theories that have been accepted, approved across the world. Impulsivity. I'll tell you the connection with impulsivity is this: alcohol, drugs. 1/3 of the suicides in India have an attribution with drugs and alcohol. Because alcohol, drugs can increase impulsivity. Are you understanding? Childhood is not what is increasing impulsivity. Yeah. But we can look into how many of these children have got into drugs. I'm having conversations with college-going students. And the students as young as 12th standard, they are saying this out. So, sir, we are taking MD. Why? Because if I take MD, I do not feel like sleeping for 2 days. I can study non-stop straight. My attention and focus is so good. And it is so good, I even remember these answers. It has come to a point where the next generation, they are not even having drugs or alcohol for pleasure. They are doing it to pass, to somehow secure their future because they are so worried and scared about their future. But it is very easy to be that Nadar uncle, that Sharma uncle and think that ye to aaj ka generation hai. Impulsive hai. Without truly understanding their perspective, their pain. We are not seeing the world from their eyes. What they are seeing is a world that is burning. They are failing to see that there will be a world that will be worth living by the time they get into the job circuit and all of that. When they look at their parents who have been working non-stop over 12 hours, they are sleeping in less than 3 hours every day, somehow managing their life, being so abusive towards their own children because they are not able to handle their stress. Are you sure we are setting up the right future for them? What is the impression of future that they are getting? Right? But then, impulsive. This is what we get to hear when women die by suicide. They're emotional. Hai. Is that the right answer, Veena?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Because you have that perspective of a woman. Who's going to have the perspective of the child? Right? We all blame quota and IITs and AIMS for suicide because there is study pressure there. Those were 100 students approximately. What about the other 12,900 students that have died? Not students, I'm talking about children below 18 years of age who have died. Where are they dying? They are dying in our villages, in our schools, in our cities. Nobody had to go to quota for that. But we are more concerned about quota and IIT. But it is happening in our own neighborhood. Right? There is a blue whale incident. We blame everything of self-harm on that for blue whale, for someone sitting in Denmark or somewhere is spreading this. But over 20% of children attempt self-harm.
Sachin, I have 2 granddaughters. One is 5.5, the other is 2.5. I still remember recently my 2.5-year-old granddaughter, she was denied one of her favorite food or something because it was not there. And she is telling, when I made a video call, they stay in Hosur. She's telling me, Mama, I'm feeling sad. A 2.5-year-old girl is able to say that she's saying sad. I was wondering at that time, how does she know what is sadness?
Do you
She's
think
telling me I'm
children
feeling
don't get
sad because my mother didn't give me my favorite food.
Yes, I'm actually proud of that child because the child is able to express their feeling.
Yeah, that's what.
They're able to vocalize their feeling. It's very rare. But if that child is able to do, but now imagine if we make fun, oh, so cute. A 2.5-year-old is saying they're sad. Oh, my child, you have to wait and see how much worse the life can be. This is the lesson we give that child. Right? So instead, are we able to see if the child is able to express their emotions so eloquently? Can we help them improve their vocabulary? We are more keen on making our children know IIT, NEET preparation and all of that. But their socialization has taken a back step. Children are no longer getting to interact freely in the playground. They're not learning how to create relationships, how to sustain relationships, how to say sorry. You know, a simple thing I learned as a child was, but katti to katti, 12 baje batti. I learned that as a child. But you know what? It was the other children who taught me that, not my parents. It told me that after some time, the pain, when it reduces, your friendship doesn't end, it will continue. But who's telling the children that now? They are more busy with the tuition class than other class. And after that, because we didn't get to go to a music class, so now that music class has also been added. After that, a karate class. So from 6:30 in the morning till 8:30, the child has not got 1 minute to be bored, to have a sense of creativity. Yes, the child will feel sad and bad and bored and all of that when you suddenly make them sit. Right? So we are training a generation to be stressed. We are not training them to take care of themselves. We have stressed so much about what their future is going to be. We have somehow just projected it all onto them without giving them the resources or the tools, or even allowed them to be themselves. Until and unless we are able to address these fundamental questions, the numbers will only keep on going. And every time we will have a reason like this, that children are impulsive, women are emotional, men are mard ko dard nahi hota hai, and all these reasons will keep coming. But we fail to see that we are only hearing this from media, not a learned source. So until and unless that is happening, a long way to go. Any other thoughts or questions, guys?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, my another question.
Veena, can we also address one question from Prajwal?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
ओके सर, सो मेरा मतलब एक सिनेरियो मैंने इमेजिन किया कि अगर मान के चलो कि एक आधा बंदा वो बहुत खतरनाक तरीके से किसी परेशानी बोले तो किसी बीमारी से जूझ रहा है, मान के चलो कैंसर की, जिससे आप बच ही नहीं सकते। सो अगर वो सुसाइड करने का ट्राई करे फिर भी हम उसे बचाएंगे अगर हमें ये पता है, बट अगर वो जिंदा रहेगा फिर भी वो सफर ही कर रहा है
जी।
तो इस सिचुएशन के बारे में आप क्या कहोगे?
देखो, जब हम ये देखते हैं कि कोई इंसान, ये क्रॉनिक कंडीशंस में ये काफी कॉमन है, आपने जो बताया है ना अभी। सो फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर किसी को कैंसर हुआ है या फिर ऐसा कोई बीमारी हुआ है जिससे उनका लाइफ को आगे जाके क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ उनकी खराब होती है, उनके लाइफ में बहुत ही दिक्कतें आती है, तो उनके चांसेस ऑफ हैविंग सुइसाइडल आइडिएशन बहुत हाई है। ठीक है। रेगुलर जो लोग हमारे जो रेगुलर लोग हैं, न्यूरोटिपिकल हैं बोलो, या दर्द जिनके लाइफ में कम है, उनके कंपैरिजन में इनका 2 गुना ज्यादा चांसेस है कि ऐसे ख्याल आएंगे उनको। ठीक है ना जब ये ख्याल आते हैं, मैंने आपको बोला है कि यहाँ पे 3 कंडीशन है जो मीट हो रहा है। ठीक है ना, उनको हमें ये विश्वास करने की जरूरत नहीं है, हाँ भाई इसको कैंसर हुआ है, 4th स्टेज है, तो ऑब्वियसली इसको सुसाइडल थॉट आना ही चाहिए, ऐसी भी बात नहीं है। बट आ रही है तो वो सिर्फ वो कैंसर ही नहीं, और भी उनके लाइफ में जो चीजें हैं उसके ऊपर भी रोशनी डालें। उनके लाइफ में सिर्फ वो कैंसर का दर्द नहीं है, सिर्फ वो बीमारी का दर्द नहीं है, और भी चीजें हैं। क्या वो उन चीजों पे भी बात कर पा रहे हैं? उनको उनके लाइफ को बेटर करने के लिए कोई ऑप्शंस हैं क्या? इसके बारे में वो किससे बात कर सकते हैं, किससे मदद ले सकते हैं, ये उनको पता है क्या? राइट? ये सारे चीजों को हम ओपन करके देखें, रादर देन थिंकिंग कि ये अभी इसको हेल्प करके भी क्या फायदा है। नहीं, हेल्प करके भी फायदा होता है, बट अगर उसके बाद भी अगर उसका डिसीजन टू डाई ही है, तो ये आपका जाता है यूथनेशिया वाले एरिया में, और वो अलग है कंप्लीटली। मे बी अ डिफरेंट सेशन मे बी नीडेड टू काइंड ऑफ अंडरस्टैंड एंड गो थ्रू दैट, बट सिंपल वो सुसाइड इसी के वजह से है करके भी हमें समझना जरूरी नहीं है। चांसेस बढ़ जाते हैं अगर कोई क्रॉनिक कंडीशन या इलनेस होता है तो, बट वो होता है तो भी उनकी सुने, उनको अपना दर्द के बारे में बात करने का एक जरिया मिले। उनको भी अगर सुसाइडल थॉट्स आते हैं तो उन थॉट्स के बारे में भी बात करने के लिए उनको एक स्पेस मिले। इसीलिए सुसाइड हेल्पलाइंस भी काम करती हैं। तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो उसके बावजूद अगर लाइफ खराब ही रहा तो उनको सुसाइड ही है ऑप्शन, जरूरी नहीं है। इज दैट मेकिंग सेंस प्रज्वल?
यस सर।
है ना, कि वो उनको इतना खराब टाइम चल रहा है कि लाइफ सब खराब है। चलो वर्स्ट के सिनारियो, 80 साल का हो गया हूं, बीवी गुजर गई, मुझे अभी अभी पता चला है मुझे कैंसर भी हो गया है और बहुत दर्द में हूं, तो मर जाना मुझे ख्याल आते हैं, बट यहाँ पे भी ये इंट्रूसिव थॉट्स में ही आ रहे हैं। क्या उनको मदद के लिए क्या एक मेंटल हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल के पास लेके जा सकते हैं? पेन रिलीफ या मैनेजमेंट के लिए उनको कुछ हेल्प हो सकता है? आज की दुनिया में इवन एड्स होए, कैंसर होए, इवन सुइसाइडल थॉट्स भी होए, मैनेजेबल है. द साइंस हैज टेकन अस टू अ पॉइंट कि मेडिकली, थेरेप्यूटिकली हम लोग ऐसे सर्विसेज आर अवेलेबल जिनसे उनकी ये सारी चीजें मैनेज कर सकते हैं. बट उसके लिए वो कॉन्वर्सेशन ही करना इंपॉर्टेंट है, वो ही नहीं हो रहा है. तो ये जो पहला स्टेप है, हमें वो पहला कदम लेना है. उसके आगे ही हम आगे जाके हर केस को इंडिविजुअली देख सकते हैं, है ना.
बट सर, व्हाट अबाउट दोज पीपल हु डोंट हैव मनी? लाइक अगर आप जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि अगर आपको कैंसर है तो अपन मेडिकल में जाके मदद ले सकते हैं, बट अभी आप हमें भी पता है कि मेडिकल के लिए कितना पैसा जाता है. सो अगर बंदे के पास पैसा नहीं तो वो उस सिनेरियो में क्या रहेगा?
सब बिल्कुल ये सही पूछ रहे हो आप. यहाँ पे आपको मैं बताऊं कि ये जो हमारे सुइसाइड हेल्पलाइंस में भी हम जो यहाँ पे काम कर रहे हैं, ये सारे हेल्पलाइन फ्री हैं. समझ रहे हो? मैं जिस संस्था का प्रेसिडेंट हूं उसके अंडर 14 सुइसाइड हेल्पलाइंस है जो पूरे भारतवर्ष में है. केरल से लेके जमशेदपुर से लेके दिल्ली से लेके अहमदाबाद, बीच में मुंबई, पुणे, हैदराबाद, बैंगलोर, ये सारे जगहों पर है. कोलकाता, जमशेद, मैंने अभी बोला है, इतने सारे जगहों पर है. अभी गवर्नमेंट ने भी नया हेल्पलाइन नंबर निकाला है 14416. चलो कितना काम करता है मुझे इतना उसका अंदाजा नहीं है, बट देर आर सर्विसेज अवेलेबल. बट क्या है ना, हमने सुसाइड को इतना बड़ा टैबू बना दिया है ना, इस पे हम बात ही नहीं करना चाहते. जब बात हो की शुरुआत होगी तभी जाके हमें पता चलेगा ना कि इससे निकलने के लिए भी जरिए हैं, है ना. हम ऐसे सेशंस अटेंड करेंगे तभी हमें और भी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगा कि सब कुछ एंड नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है हर हेल्प के लिए पैसा देना जरूरी होता है. कितना चीज में हेल्प करने के लिए, चलो मेंटल हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल नहीं है बट मैं उसका पड़ोसी हूं, उसका भाई हूं, उसका दोस्त हूं, मैं भी उसके काम आ सकता हूं. जस्ट उसका थोड़ा मैं सुन सकता हूं, उसे जज करे बिना, उस पे ये इल्जामात लगाए बिना कि ये तू सोचना बंद कर, या तू खराब है, या तू इम्पल्सिव है, या तू फलाना है, ये है वो है. हम ये समझाए बिना उसकी क्या हम बात सुन सकते हैं? क्या वो अपना दर्द हमारे सामने अपना मन हल्का कर सकता है? इन चीजों पे भी हमारा फोकस होना चाहिए. हमारा फोकस यूजली सॉल्यूशन ओरिएंटेड होता है. कैंसर है उसको तो सुसाइड हो रहा है, ये भी गलत है ना. ये भी हमने एक बड़ा चाबी डाल दिया है, बट ये भी चाबी ही है, क्योंकि हम सोचेंगे जैसा इसका कैंसर क्योर होगा तभी जाके इसका सुसाइडल थॉट्स जाएगा. गलत है ये. एक सिंपल एग्जांपल दूं. मेरी माँ अगर मुझे बोल रही है, सचिन तू शादी नहीं कर रहा है और तू शादी नहीं करता, इससे मुझे बहुत बुरा लगता है, बहुत प्रेशर आता है, मुझे आत्महत्या के ख्याल आ रहे हैं, मुझे मर जाना बेटर है. ठीक है, तो अभी इसके लिए सोल्यूशन क्या मैं शादी करूं? वही है. बट अगर मैंने अपनी माँ को तभी डॉक्टर के पास लेके गया, एक साइकेट्रिस्ट के पास लेके गया, तभी जाके पता चला कि उनको डिप्रेशन है. जब डिप्रेशन है पता चला, उसकी दवाई मिली, 3 महीने बाद बेटर हो गई है. अब भी वो मुझे गाली देती है कि शादी नहीं करता है, बट उसको मरने के ख्याल नहीं आते. डिफरेंस समझ में आ रही है?
यस सर.
है ना. ये जो मरने के ख्याल आना है ये एक सिम्टम है. वही मैं बोलने का, ये लॉजिक नहीं है कि ये ऐसा होगा तो फिर इसको ऐसा थॉट आएगा, ऐसा नहीं है. देर आर दोज 3 कंडीशंस जो मैंने स्टार्टिंग में बोला था. साइकोलॉजिकल पेन, जो लाइफ में पूरा हमारा जो जितने हालातों से गुजरे, जितना दर्द से हम गुजरे हैं वो. सेकेंड, हेल्पलेसनेस, होपलेसनेस अगर ज्यादा फील हो रहा है तो एंग्जाइटी वाला ज्यादा है उनमें. और फिर जाके अगर एक्स्ट्रा कोई पेन का एक ट्रिगर आता है तब जाके सुसाइड या सुसाइडल थॉट्स ये सब बढ़ता है ना. तो जस्ट बिकॉज अभी कैंसर है तो हाँ यार ऑब्वियसली उसको होगा, नहीं, ऑब्वियस कुछ नहीं है. वो सिम्टम है, उसे हमने एड्रेस करना है. ठीक है,
यस, गॉट इट. थैंक यू सर.
नो प्रॉब्लम. Veena, and I think we will have to close it as well very soon. So Veena, one last question, and we do more such sessions as well this month. It's World Suicide Prevention Month as well. So there are a lot more sessions and things that we will be coming up. So I hope you will register for more such events and sessions as well. Veena, yes, your question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, when you said that, you went to do this program somewhere and the people asked you not to use the S word. The same thing has happened with me also. I'm just wondering, how did you handle this?
I used the S word. First, so many a times, see, listen, we need to understand whoever is organizing as well. We talk to them about it as well. They may need to attend this session. We can share with them videos, research that is available that shows them that ये address करने से कुछ problem नहीं होता. In fact, वो acknowledge होता है, address होता है और वो लोग help ले पाते हैं. हमने 4,000 लोगों से.
I explained everything.
But then you'll have to
Sachin,
wait.
I explained everything to them.
जी.
But still,
जी.
the most premier engineering institute, and they're asking me not to use the S word.
So tell them
So
how to
we were
address.
forced to use self-harm only, not just suicide word.
So do a session on self-harm with them. See, this is a long-term battle. मैं ये 14 साल से ज्यादा कर रहा हूँ. अभी तक मुझे ये प्रॉब्लम फेस होती है. But I'm also seeing that more and more people are now being open to this. ये जो भी लोग हैं जो S word यूज मत करो, ये मत करो बोल रहे हैं, जब उनके यहाँ पे भी सुसाइड्स वो छुपा नहीं पा रहे हैं ना, और तब जाके फाइनली एड्रेस करने आ जाते हैं. हमने ये एक सेशन किया था कॉर्पोरेट्स के साथ. पहले उनके मैनेजमेंट से लेके सारों को लगा था कि ये टॉपिक मत करो, बट हमने उनके साथ एक फ्री सेशन किया स्टार्टिंग में. सर, आप सीईओ लेवल पे, वीपी लेवल पे हो, आप लोगों के साथ एक चाहिए तो हम फ्री सेशन कर लेते हैं, बट आप तो पहले समझो. जब उनके साथ हमने फ्री सेशन किया तब उन्होंने बोला अच्छा हमारे मिड लेवल मैनेजर्स के साथ आप करो. मिड लेवल मैनेजर्स को पहले डर लग रहा था, बट उन्होंने जब सेशन अटेंड किया उसके बाद उन्होंने हमें बताया कि सर ये बहुत इतना हेल्पफुल रहा है, ये हमारे बीवियों के साथ करो. जब बीवियों के साथ हमने सेशन किया, पहले बीवियों को डर लग रहा था, बट जैसे सेशन अटेंड किया, वंस दे गॉट द राइट नॉलेज, देन वो ही खुद आके बोल रहे हैं सर ये सेशन हमारे बच्चों के साथ भी करो. Because only when they see, experience, go through it, then they are able to see कि यार इसमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, क्योंकि हमने इसका भूत बना रखा है. जब तक हम ये भूत भगाएंगे नहीं तब तक ये स्ट्रगल रहेगा. तो वन स्टेप एट अ टाइम ही है, बट ये स्टेप में पहले हमें हमारा ये जो बायस है, जो मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग है विद सुसाइड, इसे पहले साफ करना पड़ेगा. आज आपने थोड़ी बहुत चीजें को थोड़ा सा और बारीकी से देखा है. विद सुसाइड में भी मैंने सबसे सिंपल एग्जांपल ही यूज किया था, ये फायर से जंप करने वाला, बिकॉज हम उसे मानते ही नहीं है सुसाइड, क्योंकि सुसाइड को हम बुरा मानते हैं. ये समझो, जब तक हम सुसाइड को एज अ प्रोसेस, एज एन एक्ट ही नहीं देखें विदाउट एनी जजमेंट, तब तक हम मदद नहीं पहुंचा सकते. और पहले हम अपने आप को ये समझाना है, फिर स्लोली अपना ये काम करते जाना है, एंड वी कैन डेफिनेटली रीच.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Veena.
Sachin, can you briefly share how we can deal with copycat suicides?
Yes, someone had asked about that, no?
Yeah.
See, with copycat suicides, one of the main things that we have to look is media. WHO has given us distinct guidelines, clear guidelines on how to report around suicide. But that is not being followed by media companies. They need to be held accountable. What is a copycat suicide? Yeah, a suicide contagion or the Werther's effect. WURTHER. Werther's effect बोलते हैं. Where when there is one suicide in that community, multiple suicides happen. Same thing had happened in the case of Sushant Singh Rajput's death. When there is a major celebrity, political figure, a known figure, a loved figure dies, or especially dies by suicide, you see a rise in number of suicides, especially in the way that the person died. This is an impact that is happening when you sensationalize suicide. What does that mean? When you sensationalize suicide, when I'm saying that the person was going through a monetary crisis and he had no other option but to kill himself. When this is reported in the newspaper, people who are already going through suicidal ideations or through different stages of suicidal ideation, now you have given them an understanding that yes, when you are in so much pain, then what you are supposed to do is kill yourself. We are giving them a logic in doing this. We are sensationalizing, we are glamorizing. When we show movies where couples are dying by suicide, by jumping off a cliff because the community, the society didn't allow their love. Now look at them, they jumped from the cliff. What an amazing pair of lovers. They need to be remembered. They are Romeo and Juliet, and they need to be remembered for life. That is greatness of their love. When we are projecting such stupid, I'm sorry to be so mean, but it feels like a rant for me as well. When we are projecting or sensationalizing, glamorizing a reason for suicide, when modern day shows which talk about reducing suicide, like 13 reasons why, but then they take an entire episode and show a very a beautiful graphic way of the girl killing herself. That is trigger. You are triggering. A graphic detail information is a trigger, especially to those people who may be on the second stage of suicidal ideation. Right? We haven't discussed stages of suicide. Obviously, it will be covered in like a training or something. But those who are interested in that, please feel free to check into that. But are you understanding what is happening here? Asking about suicide is not the trigger, but doing such silly things like creating shows where suicide is shown as a reason for that person's pain. That person had no other choice but to kill themselves. And we all think that this is a reasonable course of action. Then we fail to see the mental health issue behind it. We fail to see the intrusive thought, the intrusive nature of the suicidal thought behind it. We see it as a valid, logical conclusion. This is what is the trigger. So until and unless...
Sachin, you said stages. Is it the one which we learned in Lifeline? R1, R2, R3?
Something similar. Something similar. Yeah. So R1, R2, R3, you look at it from a warning sign perspective. But from a suicidal stage perspective, it is where the person has gone into ideation stage, planning stage, and autopilot stage. So contagion effect as well. Big responsibility lies on the media companies as well. If you see, and what role can we play? If you see news articles, if they are mentioning suicide, they are not supposed to mention the way the person killed themselves. Right? Committed suicide, we focus on committed suicide, but nobody bats an eyelid when the news media mentioned they've killed them, they committed suicide by hanging. We had news media for 6 months projecting the news of Sushant Singh Rajput by showing us the rope that he used to kill himself, the way the knot was tied. This is not just triggering, you are in fact training people how to kill themselves. But nobody raises a complaint. We keep on watching that show. Where is the media guidelines? Where is someone trying to stop the media from projecting such triggering information so freely in prime time? Then nobody is doing something. So the contagion effect, the Werther's
So
effect.
then there they bring psychologists also.
They are not psychologists who are worth their...
They all, to a great extent, they discuss all this, but they are the ones who should be preventing, who should be asking the media.
I'll tell you what is happening. The media already has the answers that they want to hear. Then they find a psychologist or psychiatrist who will give that same answer. They are not going to a psychiatrist who will give the right information or a psychologist who will give the right information. They're going to a psychiatrist or psychologist who will give you the answer that they want to hear. And can you find psychologists and psychiatrists like that? Yes. Every third person now is a counselor. Who trained them? Where is their license? Where is their certification? Nobody is questioning any such thing. Anyone Baba Bengali is becoming a psychiatrist or psychologist. So addressing that is very, very important. So that responsibility of the media, there needs to be a media watchdog that looks into these parts. As citizens of the country, we can be that watchdog. We can raise these issues as well. So hound them on Twitter if they're putting in such information willy-nilly. Great. With that, Anama, you have asked about it's not the 4 Ps, it's the 3 Ps of suicide, which was the psych pain, perturbation, and pressors. Okay. But with that, guys, it's almost we have overshot by almost an hour. So thank you, Shifa, for understanding and patiently being there.
Thank you, sir.
But we will be closing the session now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Anything from you, Shifa?
Yeah, I'll just finish it off. All right, thank you, everyone. And thank you so much for the very insightful and amazing session. Also, we would like to thank Team Connect Art for the collaborator for this webinar. And also I'm sharing the details about the training that ICHARS and the Connector is providing. I'm just sharing it in the chat box. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.